The scene begins in a kingdom where hedonism and greed were as vast as any politician's ego during a campaign. A group of men had the brilliant idea to sacrifice a queen to the bull god. Of course, nothing could go wrong, right? The poor queen ended up having relations with the entity, and from that not-so-romantic encounter was born an abomination that would make even Frankenstein seem cute. The creature, thirsty for power and blood, was raised in the most complicated labyrinth since the Rubik's Cube. To keep the monster occupied, and from devouring everyone at once, every 3 years, 8 young people were sent as a snack for the beast, in a tradition weirder than the Oscars' best films lists. Among the youths destined for sacrifice was Theo, a shepherd who, instead of just tending sheep, preferred playing Greek hero. After seeing a shadowy figure that his friend Danu swears is a bad omen, Theo decides to talk to his father about how unfair it is that everyone is dying because of an ancient revenge law. But, of course, Theo's father, who is also the village leader, prefers to keep his son safe, making all the other young people wonder if he should be nominated for Father of the Year or not. On an ordinary day, Theo, tired of losing sheep to wolves, ends up finding a witch in a hole in the forest who, like any good fairy tale witch, gives him an impossible mission: kill the minotaur and save his beloved, who is supposedly still alive. By the way, this film was shot entirely in studios on the Isle of Man, using a combination of practical effects and CGI that, well, let's just say it was an attempt. Meanwhile, the Empire's soldiers arrive and capture the young people, including Theo, who decided to cosplay as a hero, taking the place of one of the sacrificial girls. At the Empire's palace, they meet Emperor Duan, a villain so cliché he seems straight out of a rejected Lord of the Rings script. After a failed attempt to save 2 girls about to be sacrificed, Theo ends up being thrown into the labyrinth along with his friends. Amid the smell of hallucinogenic gas and terrifying screams, Theo finds his companions, and they all decide that the brilliant plan is to find the Minotaur and kill it. Sure, because facing a half-man, half-bull monster in a deadly labyrinth is something you do every week. Now, let's be honest. If you were in Theo's place, maybe thinking of a plan B, like, I don't know, running away wouldn't be a bad idea. But since we're in a story where everyone has the logic of horror movie characters, they decide to keep going. If you were thrown into a labyrinth with a Minotaur, what would be your strategy to survive? Continuing with the story, Theo, the brave volunteer, takes on the dubious honor of serving as bait while his friends, armed with whatever they found lying around, hide nearby, ready to attack what they believe to be the beast. They jump out, only to discover it's not a monstrous creature but Rafila, who claims she's there to help. Vina, the skeptic of the group, doesn't believe her and starts to leave. But before she can finish her venomous monologue about how much she despises her village and everyone in it, the beast abruptly interrupts her speech by impaling her. The rest of the group flees in terror, their heroic plans shattered by this not-so-surprising twist. In the chaos that follows, they stumble upon their friend Day, who miraculously wakes up, thanks to Rafila's mystical powers. They continue towards an exit that Rafila promised would lead them to freedom. But when they reach the door, Duan and his cheerful troop crash the party, kill Rafila's servant, and cause a lot of unnecessary drama. With the beast on their heels, the group's frantic attempts to break down the door become a horror movie cliché. The beast takes down a few more victims while Theo and his remaining comrades run for their lives. They come across Turg, a man who has clearly been in the labyrinth for way too long, eating rats and coming up with crazy theories. But even in his state of madness, he offers a vital clue. The beast likes to take naps. Meanwhile, Rafila reveals the uncomfortable truth about the labyrinth's dark history and why sacrifices are made to the Minotaur. It turns out the whole thing was a cover-up for a real mistake, with Theo's village paying the price. Determined to end this nightmare, Theo confronts the beast in an explosive showdown. Literally, he uses a piece of the iron medallion to trigger an explosion that incinerates the creature. However, like in every good horror movie, the beast survives, only to meet its end when Theo, in a final dramatic confrontation, impales it with its own horn, leaving Theo and Rafila to escape the collapsing labyrinth at the last second. Now, let's talk about that 2006 Minotaur movie. Did you know it was inspired by the classic Minotaur myth, but with lots of gross horror elements added in? And honestly, if I were in Theo's shoes, I wouldn't have let Turg ramble on for so long before asking the important questions. Time is of the essence when a giant horned monster is on your tail. But let's be real, if it were me, I'd probably be eating rats alongside Turg. How would you feel about facing a labyrinth knowing there's a huge, furious minotaur inside? Would you trust a stranger like Rafila? Or would you be more like Vina, ready to bail at the first sign of trouble? Let me know in the comments. Check out other videos on the channel, and see you next time.
And I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect.